Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Lone Wolf Challenge. In the last episode, we set up all of our lone wolf candidates right on the very edge of the ports. And now, as of the moment that I'm recording this, we have a pretty clear winner of that poll. Jay is going to be our very first community-chosen lone wolf, so he has a pretty special destiny in front of him. I guess the main reason for him leaving is to keep the promise that he made to Toothless. But the Curious Healer is also very invested in the study of the healing fruits. So honestly, there's no better place for him to go. And he does have a few genes that'll really help him in the jungle too. The spiky body gives him a little bit of that scentless buff, and of course the nimble fingers are going to be very important for Vankir's leg of the challenge. He even has the stinky tail in his traits, which he would see if not for the spiky body, though the short-sighted eyes are going to be a little bit difficult for us to work with at first. He's going to have to really struggle to find somebody who can guide him around, otherwise it's going to take him ages to tear through all of that tall grass. So of course I've already set him up on the ports, he's ready to travel as soon as we are, and I've also had our creatures collect as much food as they possibly could. I thought it would be a good idea for us to start with about 100 pieces of food, but I also want to give Jay a little bit of a wiggle room to work with. Vankir's leg of the challenge is going to be all about the harvest, so I think maybe in order to progress, we'll have to get to exactly 400 pieces of food. It sounds like a lot, but food tends to pile up pretty quickly when that's what you're focusing on. So I think our tribe will reach the goal faster than they realize. And not only that, but there will be certain restrictions in place as well. Our tribe won't be allowed to overpopulate this island, because Vankir is very particular about his resources. But we'll get to all of that as soon as we travel to the new island. So, are you ready, Jay? Our very first lone wolf that we've chosen at least, not one that has been chosen for us. So let's go. Let's see what sort of jungle we're going to end up in. I'm crossing my fingers that it's not going to be like the deep jungle or something. I'm not really sure which one this would be. It must be one of the tougher islands. Oh, and it looks like it's one of the warmer ones too. Oh no, Jay, that might be a struggle for you. At least it seems like you have half of the grasslands to work with though. That's actually not that bad. Though somebody has set up a peculiar trap for you. A big palm tree right in front of the ports? You better move out of the way, little guy. But it's good to see that you have a berry bush right off the bat too. So I believe it was in Adam's quest where we initially chose the berry bushes as a good place for us to build our nests. There was a certain family involved with Adam's quest that would only build a nest if a berry bush was nearby. So I think as per Vankir's challenge, that is going to be one of the requirements. In order for us to start a family, we need to make sure that there's at least one berry bush nearby for us to work with. So one berry bush per child on the island. I believe that family also wasn't allowed to have another baby until their current one had grown all the way to 3 gems. So that'll make it easier for us to not only manage our population, but also our food supplies as well. I do think it might be a good idea for us to treat trees differently though. Unfortunately, I don't see a single oak tree on this island. I was kind of hoping that would be the case. If we had an oak tree to work with, I'm sure that would be a great place for multiple families to raise their babies together. Or even maybe one creature who has taken on multiple mates, just like Vankir used to do himself. I suppose we could always treat these stinky fruit trees the same. That would give us a lot of food too. Not exactly the same sort of shelter as the oak trees would, but I guess that'll have to do. So maybe we'll allow 2 nests to be built next to the stinky fruit trees. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the palm trees probably don't work the same, because it would be pretty reckless to build your nest right underneath one of these things. Your baby would definitely end up getting stunned. So these are going to be more like a rare source of food for our tribe to gather, and if we can keep those nimble fingers on our babies, then it should be very easy for them to collect food here too. I did also see that we have some shells in the water, and I'm sure that's something else that Vankir would highly value. But right now, Jay, you just need to find a good place to hunker down. Maybe a good place to seek out the rogue male's family. Oh, we have plenty of berry bushes out here. Oh my gosh, and a permanent nest here too? Wait a second, Jay. If you use this one, then you don't even have to worry about your mate building their own nest. They can just settle down inside the permanent one instead. Let's actually have him take a little rest over here. I suppose he could just settle down for the night and listen to the crabbits as they skitter through the water. Is the crabbit army invading already? Interesting that they have so many shells in their possession too. So let's go ahead and skip the very first day. I'm sure that we won't have to worry about any apes spawning in the distance for quite some time. But there is always a possibility that one of these jungle trees could spawn an ape on us. Now as far as the other ports go, I know it's a long way off before we visit any of these, but it looks like the harder island is yet another jungle. Then we have a swamp to go to, and I believe the ports over here are just grassland tiles. I wonder if that would actually be the archipelago? All of those tiny little islands that are separated by huge stretches of ocean? Now that would be a good island for a Splashes challenge. Well, Jay, your first night in, and it looks like everything is still pretty quiet, but let's go ahead and sniff around just in case. Because it is much easier for you to sense the things around you if you use your other senses instead. No wanderers, but definitely a lot of moles. Definitely a lot of food to attract other creatures your way. Now I wonder if he should stay here, or if he should actually go charging off into the grasslands to seek out somebody himself. I don't feel like he would be the type to just sit here and wait, though it might be a good idea for us to clear out this grass nonetheless. Because of that spiky body, he is losing a little bit of energy too, so that's going to be a bit tricky. Now he only has 2 turns to use per day, so we're going to have to be very careful indeed, but at least he found one of his healing fruits. I mean, that's a pretty good sign too. So close to your home base. Let's start carving our pathway toward the healing fruit next. Now Jay unfortunately was the oldest of all of the lone wolves that we could take with us, so he only has 10 days remaining to find himself a mate, but the game is usually pretty kind when it comes to finding new creatures to invite into the tribe, and since we only have 1 creature in our tribe right now, I'm sure it's just a matter of time before they spawn somebody new for us. So let's have you settle down right next to the healing fruit next, and we'll have you clear out the pathway right around this thing as soon as we skip the day. I mean, somebody is bound to come sniffing around here. I know he is a little bit difficult to sense since he does have that scentless body, but they would surely see him nosing around the healing fruit, right? Especially if this is something that they've taken for themselves. If perhaps the roguelike's family is lurking around these parts. I'm sure they would want to keep this place locked tightly under their control. So let's go ahead and skip one more day, inviting Vankir's rains to us this time. Well, a harvest is never a bad sign, and all the more fitting too because it actually gives Jay enough energy to use all 3 of his gems in 1 turn. So the cool rains have washed away the heat of the jungle. I guess it's even more fitting that he ended up being our lone wolf after all. He has a special sort of connection with Vankir. It must be his way of pushing you onwards then. He knows that it's going to be very difficult for you to find what you're looking for, but he doesn't want you to give up. Actually, this one might be even better for you, Jay. If you could only find a mate, this nest is right next to a berry bush too, and it's right next to your healing fruit. So he wouldn't have quite as far to travel away from his baby if he wanted to experiment with the healing fruit a little bit more. Still nobody around here though? Alright, now it's starting to get a little bit worrying. We only have 8 days left to find him a mate, or else he's going to end up passing without ever having a baby. Do you hear anybody out there now? It looks like a little mole has popped up from the ground. We didn't see that guy before, so maybe that's a good sign? And you still have all of your energy too. You're feeling very eager to explore today. So let's make use of all of that energy and go a little bit deeper into the grasses. We are getting dangerously close to the jungles now too, and it looks like there are some swampland tiles up here as well. Right underneath that strange swampland tree, in fact, which is sure to be full of all sorts of snails by now. Well, let's skip the day again, and we'll keep our eyes out for Mulberry's misfortune, because I'm sure that must have spawned by now too. And there go the rains as well, washing away every last bit of the harvest. Maybe it's time for you to turn back then? This is always the most nerve-wracking part of the Lone Wolf Challenge, because you don't know what's going to spawn around you. And I guess even more so with Jay, since he's so secluded out here. Even if he cleared out the area around him, it would still be very hard for him to see in the dark. I think that's really all that you can do now though, Jay. Let's bring you back here so you can open up the pathways straight toward that healing fruit. And then skip the day yet again. Oh my gosh, only 5 more days remaining? Have we made a grave error here? Well, the bluebirds have spawned, so that's a good sign. That's a new type of creature. Yes, and no wonder. Oh my gosh, we did find a creature? It's a female, that's a good sign too. Let's see if we can sneak on over to her side so we can meet her. She must be trying to steal our berries, of course. No wonder it took her so long to get over here. She has a big body, so I bet she's feeling very, very tired right now. She has a short-sighted eyes too, and some pretty dark fur colors. So while she might be sneaky, she definitely knows Jay's struggle. Now please tell me that these two have different immunity genes? G and H and C and F. Okay, we may have finally found a way to save this tribe. So Jay, go ahead and offer up a little bit of the extra food that you have, and how fitting too. He has exactly 105 pieces of food. So when we offer up these 5 pieces, we're back to an even 100. Almost as if Vankir orchestrated this entire thing all along. It's quite clear to me that Mikomi has been watching him from the darkness for quite some time too. She's probably been slinking in these shadows. Maybe she even came from the muddy swamplands, which would certainly explain her muddy fur color. There must be an easy way to not only blend in, but also keep herself pretty cool. I suppose all of those extra berries that he offered up to her may have helped her in this heat too. Maybe she was even struggling to go any further, and now she's fallen head over heels for her little savior. So luckily, with Takir's challenge far behind us now, we don't have any restrictions left on the mutation menu. So we can try to alter our baby's genes a little bit, maybe place the normal eyesight into their genes first, so the short-sighted eyes of the artist can be left behind us too. Then I would imagine the other thing we should probably focus on is the body type. We only have access to the medium body right now, so why don't we go ahead and place that into both of their mutation menus, just so we don't have to worry about all of their babies being very hard at moving out here. So go ahead and breed with Jay. Hopefully, I know he has some pretty poor fertility. Thank goodness. Now Mikomi, you can settle down right inside this nest. I suppose we could always have her come on back to this one too. I mean, there's no rule saying that the family needs to stay by one berry bush. They can only have 1 child per berry bush, as only 1 nest can be built beside them. So as our families grow and our branches continue to split, they might stake claim on certain areas of the land. And this one right here in the heart of it is clearly meant for our healers. Actually, I didn't check and see what she has in her inactive traits. Oh, it's just the pig nose? Okay. So I guess that means that all of their babies are going to have the big nose after all. But you know, if we do make it over to the stinky fruit trees, we might be able to unlock the purse now on this island. It just depends if there are any major dangers out here. I haven't heard any apes wandering around yet, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to spawn. So let's see what Jay's very first baby is going to look like. Our very first heir in the Lone Wolf Challenge. Oh, how strange. We're actually experiencing a drought when this baby is born? Vankir, are you not impressed? I mean, she has perfect eyesight, she does have the nimble fingers, she's even carrying the scorpion tail in her inactive traits. We're gonna have to draw that out of their genes for sure, because that would be a great way for our tribe to take advantage of the poison berry bushes as well. But she does look rather withered. I mean, the color of her fur, it's almost like dry grass. I wonder why Vankir doesn't favor this baby. It seems like she's going to have a harder life than most. The next name on my list is Daisy, so welcome to our tribe, little one. Maybe Jay's attempt to bring a little bit of good fortune to you in a way, naming you after a sweet little flower, as if that'll give you the positivity that you need to go on. It looks like we may have unlocked a new gene in our mutation menu too, and I wonder if that would be for a certain amount of generations? Yeah, it looks like the normal blood clotting gene is in our mutation menu now, and that's all well and good too, because Mikomi doesn't exactly have the best blood clotting in her line, so we might need that to fix the situation. Oh, and likewise? Oh no, Daisy has the same rotten fertility as her father? Yeah, we probably should have taken a closer look at that too. But I suppose he only has a little bit of time to have more babies as it is. Ah, and it looks like we have another wanderer. Oh, she must be related to you. She has the nimble fingers and the digging paw, just like Mikomi does. Maybe if she gets a little bit closer, we can say hello to her. I see that we have tons and tons of roots out here, so she's probably coming by to scoop up every last one. And then she just so happened to run into her sister, who started a little family of her own out here. That has to be a little bit confusing for her. Let's bring Mikomi over this way though. That way we can definitely have her breed with him again. Oh, and do you have... That might be the medium body? Yeah, I was hoping it was the lean body, but I'm afraid we're not so lucky. Still though, she does have the bird beak in her inactive traits, and so does Jay too. So if their immunity genes line up, and it does appear that they do, maybe she would be interested in starting a little family with Jay as well. We would just have to find her the right berry bush to settle down next to, so she can build her own nest and have plenty of berries to sustain her family. Maybe we'll go with this one right over here, since it's not one of the poison berry bushes. And if our tribe is going to settle down next to the poison berry bushes, I feel like it should also be a bit of a rule that they can actually pick them too. So we're going to have to invite her first, and considering the fact that she's eyeing up our berry bush right now, she's probably going to swipe all of these berries clean. I don't want to skip this turn without breeding Jay and Mikomi though, since it is going to be so difficult with that poor fertility. So go ahead and grab these berries for us, just so she doesn't steal every last bit of food that we have to our name, and then breed with Mikomi again. Hopefully. There we go. So you still have time to make it down to your other nest, assuming that your sister doesn't decide to claim it for herself first. There has to be some greater reason why all of these creatures are seeking out Jay though. And I suppose if the rogue male's family did value these healing fruits so much, that would probably be enough of a reason for them. Ooh, and Vankir likes it too, sending us some more rains, so it looks like our berry bushes are okay again. And speaking of which, Rana does actually have the very same fur color as Daisy. I wonder if she feels a little bit connected to this baby in a way. Maybe she was also ousted by Vankir too, born in the midst of a drought, which made her fur appear just as withered. Well, let's go ahead and offer up our food to you, Rana. 5 extra pieces of food, and we know that you're going to be able to bring us back plenty, especially with that digging paw of yours. So even after Jay ends up passing away, since he only has 2 days remaining, we know that there will be plenty of ladies to keep all the babies safe. We'll probably have him stay right here. I mean, not only because he has berries to collect, but also because this bluebird is looking mighty hungry. So we've got to make sure that little Daisy is going to be kept nice and safe. Oh no. Oh no, not one of the rogue males. Oh, we should have sniffed around. I mean, we could have Rana take a swipe, but she's actually going to get hurt too. Not only is this a rogue male, but he has the spiky body. Oh, of all the times to find a rogue male. I wonder if maybe these two are mates though. Maybe she wasn't looking to start a family with Jay. She was just looking for a safe place to raise her own family. I mean, it wouldn't be such a bad thing for us to weasel those antennas into our traits as well. Especially with the rains being so important, giving us the perfect time to gather more food for Vankir. Maybe we could try a baby between Rana and the rogue male after all, but we would have to make sure that we set up her mutation menu very well, because we want to make sure that we get that poor eyesight out of their genes fast. How strange that every single creature we've come across has had Jay's short-sighted eyes. It's almost like it was a curse from the previous island. Since I'm sure so many of these creatures are related to that rogue male, it does make you wonder if Takir's influence is just clinging to their hearts. But with their tribe holding the healing fruits at such a high state, seeing Jay with his purse now must be a real sight to behold. He's learned how to heal creatures without utilizing the healing fruits at all, so the purse now must be like the ultimate sign of greatness to them. But as the rogue male inevitably breeds with Rana, we'll bring Mikomi down this way. Oh! Or not. You actually weren't interested? He just turned straight around. Oh, are you two having some sort of argument or something? It looks like Mulberry's misfortune has appeared after all, and far closer to the heart of the camp than I would like. Gosh, that has to be a sign if I ever did see one. Maybe Rana has appeared at Jay's tribe to help make her rogue male love feel a little bit jealous. And here she is taking things just a step too far, starting a family with the healer too. That's more than just trying to make somebody jealous. That's trying to actually hurt them beyond repair. So if this is how it's going to be, Rana the Reckless, then let's make sure that we set up the rest of your mutation menu too. We better make sure that we put in the highest fertility that we possibly can, because there is a possibility that their babies could end up completely infertile. So let's see if we can breed you on this turn. Oh, that is heartbreaking. I don't see how these two can reconcile after this. Even after Jay has passed away, if she does truly have one of his children, I don't see why the rogue male would want to come back afterwards. Well, since we don't want our little baby Daisy moving too far away, I guess the most we could do is have her tunnel out the nest right here. But let's just have her settle down quietly inside the nest for now. Keep tucked away from the eyes of the bluebird, and right next to the berry bushes too. Oh, Mulberry's misfortune is making its way to you, Mikomi? Gosh, this family is a lot more broken than we first figured. We have Rana the Reckless stabbing her rogue male love in the back. We have Mikomi feeling terrible for her sister's heartless ways. And now we even have a Dodomingo sitting right next to the berry bush that we wanted to use for one of our nests. Oh, the Dodomingos are going to be such a pest in this part of the challenge. If we're only allowed to have one nest next to every single one of these berry bushes, if the Dodomingos steal it, that is going to make it very tricky for us to continue to grow our families. But Jay, here's your last chance. Let's see if we can breed you with Rana. There we go, it looks like that time it worked. And now she should have just enough energy to sneak over to that berry bush. In fact, if we bring her right here, I suppose that this is where she could build her nest, right in between the berry bush and the healing fruit. If that's not a good way to ensure the fortune of the healers, then I don't know what is. So go ahead and craft our very first nest of the challenge. No permanent nest for you to work with over here, I'm afraid, unless maybe there's something on the other side. I do kind of appreciate that she set up her nest so close to the swampland tiles, though. If anyone is bound to end up with Mulberry's misfortune, I feel like it would probably be her. Now let's not forget that we have to be collecting some more food, too. Vankir is going to be very upset with us if we end up squandering away all of his harvest again. So this might be a good opportunity for you to teach your daughter how to pick from the berry bushes, too. And maybe instill a little bit of wisdom into her heart. She might be the one creature here who isn't as affected by this drama. She was born into it, but it doesn't define her. So maybe she could even bring about change. It might even be something that Jay recognizes. He did help heal Toothless's mind right before he came to this island. So maybe he realizes that that's the sort of healing that this family needs. Not something that can be seen physically, and not something that can be healed by some measly healing fruit. So he's going to pass down the healer's wisdom to you, Daisy. And I feel like it would probably be pretty fitting if we gave her the very same gem colors too. Maybe that'll be what marks the curiosity of a healer, so she can seek a way to mend her broken family. But with the rogue male still lurking about, and with so much darkness around us, it would probably be in our best interest to just pick up the grass for now. So with those last few turns, we'll have you grab the tall grass around you. And then I guess we're ready to skip the day, seeing one last time what our next heirs are going to look like. So as Jay has passed on this turn, he's only managed to have 3 babies on this island, but it's clear that they're going to be very important to our story. So his second baby with his true love looks to be just as helpful as her mother. And not only that, but she does have that person out in her inactive traits too. So at least that's still going to live on in some way in the hearts of our tribe. I did notice that Daisy only has the bird beak in her inactive traits, so it wouldn't be so easy for us to pull that out of her line. We'd have to make sure that we unlock it with the stinky fruit first, so maybe that's what she'll seek out to heal her family. But the difference between Daisy and this baby is that she's been born terribly close to Mulberry's misfortune. And I wonder if that's going to affect her in any way too. The next name on my list is actually Daylily, so very similar to her sister in that way. Welcome to our tribe, little one. I'm sure your mother is going to take very good care of you, especially as we have so many bluebirds circling overhead now. And do I actually see a beak in the nest? Oh my gosh, were we really so lucky? Did we actually have a little beaky baby born? Oh my goodness, with the scorpion tail, the nimble fingers. Oh, and she even has the mask, so similar to her father. Oh, she is the most unique baby we've seen so far. She looks like she has a little 5 o'clock shadow going though. Or maybe too much mud on her fur from rolling around in the swamps. Well, as for you, little one, the next name on my list is Paisley, so welcome to our tribe as well. You are definitely going to be one for us to follow. I wonder if the bluebirds have some influence over her then? Maybe she'd be the type to feel guided where they fly? Maybe even to escape the curse of her family, because she bears the heaviest burden of all. She is the result of Arana's cruel heart. And interestingly enough, it doesn't seem like the rogue male is hanging around anymore. And all for good reason, too. So I wonder if he's finally decided to give up on her. Either way, it's clear that Daisy is going to have a lot resting on her little shoulders. So I guess in the next episode, we'll watch her take over as the Curious Healer's heir. We'll have to make sure that she sets us back on track, of course, to receive Vankir's blessing. But it's clear that on such a large and volatile island as this, there are plenty of deities with sway over the land. So there is still a lot of stories for us to tell in between. So for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!